Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Library-ish, the official podcast of the Butte County Library, where we talk books, libraries, and all the wonderfully nerdy things in between. I'm Tracy.
And I'm January. And today, in honor of Native American Heritage Month, we're taking you on a journey through Indigenous storytelling, from ancient oral traditions to the first Native American authors published in the U.S., all the way to the best-selling Native voices shaping literature today.
That's right. We'll look at how Indigenous authors didn't just enter American print culture, they challenged it. Writers like Samson Occam, William Apess, Sarah Winnemucca Hopkins, and Zitkala-Ša used their words as a form of resistance and advocacy.
And we'll share some of our favorite contemporary Indigenous authors, including Louise, Erdrich, and Robin Will Kimmerer, plus some read-alikes and great titles you can check out right here at your local Butte County Library.
So settle in and let's explore the Indigenous voices of the United States, past and present, that continue to inspire, challenge, and shape the way we understand stories.
Let's go. On behalf of Butte County Library and our podcast Library-ish, we acknowledge that we are located on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded lands of the Mechoopda tribe of Chico Ranchera and the Maidu people, whose stewardship of this land continues through today. We honor the elders past, present, and future, and the enduring relationship these Indigenous nations have with this land and water. In the spirit of respect, we commit ourselves to listening, learning, and acting in partnership with Indigenous peoples of this region. Native American Heritage Month. We've got a lot of authors that are from Native American descent.
And yes, and you know what's wonderful is that Native American storytelling goes back long before the printing press. The Indigenous cultures of the United States have a long tradition of many different types of storytelling. We'd just like to go over a few of those with you today. We're also going to talk today about authors that challenge the colonial paradigm, as well as today's best-selling authors. And influential Native writers. We're also going to give you some read-alikes that you can look at if you have already read some of the authors that we've mentioned, because some of them are, their titles are quite popular, so you may have already gone through and read those. But we do have some read-alikes if you're interested in reading more, but you may not know where to go next. Why don't we start first with the oral traditions?
Okay.
Because there were many different kinds. They used hero cycles. There are many recurring hero figures, like the coyote, the raven, the goose cap, and twins are a recurring hero trope. There were creation stories, of which, like you looked into what some of the creation stories were of the local tribes, the Maidu and the Mechoopda, right?
Yeah, because up here in Butte County, we have two main local tribes, which we did in the land acknowledgement. We did mention those tribes. Yes. One's the Mechoopda, and then one's the Maidu. If you were to go online to the Mechoopda tribe website, or you were to go onto the Maidu tribe website and stuff like that, they do have creation stories. And the coyote is a commonality in the two. Yes. You always have the earth maker and you have the relationship with the coyote. And in most occasions, the coyote represents mischief, you know? And so you've got the earth maker, and then you've got the one that kind of makes trouble with it. And I dig that. I really do. I think it's lovely. It's the start of every single good book I think I've ever read, is the, you've got the one that's very put together, and it's making everything, we're creating everything, and then you've got the, how can I mess this up? Yeah, No, I had a great time reading it, and there's still a lot about the two tribes that is you're able to access these. Our Oroville branch has a very large collection. You can't check it out. It's at least the majority of it. It's called California Reference, because they're very valuable and they're very hard for us to replace.
And they're one of a kind.
They are, yeah. You can't take them home. You can, assuming our printer is working, you can make a Xerox for 10 cents for black and white, 50 cents for color.
Of the transcripts.
Yeah, so you can make a Xerox, a copy. And then a photocopy. And I hear Aiko in the back of my head. Is it a Xerox? Okay. It's a photocopy. You can make a photocopy and take it home. But you can't take the book home because, you know, we can't replace it. But it's a wonderful collection, and it goes, you know, way back, and it's specific to this region, and it's great. I would seriously suggest, if you haven't been to the Oroville branch yet, please take a visit over there and take a look at the ask for the California reference section. And they got just on the Maidu. I mean, it's a huge area. It's chef's kiss. I love it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, definitely go over and take a visit.
So some of the other oral traditions that are passed down are migration histories. So these are transferring the information about seasonal paths, river crossings, ancestral territories, and they serve as both oral cartography and as genealogy lessons, so that people know which regions they came from, how they got to where they are for a migratory culture that's extremely important. Ecological teachings such as harvesting practices, animal behavior, plant relationships, weather and seasonal changes, all transfer information that is scientifically based, ethically based. Environmental management is involved in these stories. Very important for agriculture communities. There are also clan and family histories where ancestral deeds, clan roles, marriage alliances, and historical events witnessed by elders preserve the continuity, identity, and obligations across generations. Very important traditions these are. There are ceremonial narratives, songs and dances, and spoken poetry. These are extremely important in American Indigenous culture. And in fact, while we may think of them as being something that happened a long time ago, during the movements of the 1950s and 60s, and throughout the course of the Indigenous populations fight for their own rights and fight for civil liberties, dances were created during that time in very recent years to express their feelings and their ideas. So these are living histories. These aren't just something that occur in the past. It's just a paradigm of storytelling that we are not accustomed to because we're so conditioned to go to the printed word.
We're not accustomed in the way that they were.
Not at all.
When you think, how do you learn to do things? Oh, my mom told me. Oh, you know, my dad told me about that. And when you think of the danger of misinformation, it's all oral. Nothing's, you know, I mean, everyone's scared of the books, but nothing is more dangerous than misinformation tweeted by the wrong person. Oh, excuse me, posted on X by the wrong person in the wrong area.
I have so much to say about this because I studied this while I was in library school. The amount of information it takes to refute misinformation is exponentially higher. It takes much more energy. However, the internet, because there is such a volume of information that does come forth, can stop misinformation very effectively. It's one of the most effective tools to stopping it. What is the most effective way of spreading misinformation is not the internet. It is conversations between people in emails. Individual interactions, oral tradition. So you can spread information, you can also spread misinformation that way. But the thing that I was told by this other person that got the information from wherever, the thing that I was told is the thing that I will believe.
That's how powerful this method is. Not the content specifically, but this method of transferring information, of storytelling, of creating this.
And this isn't speculation. This is actual, like, academic studies. There are papers on papers on papers.
It's very
about
powerful.
the spread of misinformation, and it's
right?
Huge.
And we're not even talking about misinformation. We're talking about, you know, the way that the Native Americans told stories and spread their stuff. The method itself is very powerful.
And effective. Very effective, whether it's proper information or misinformation. That just shows what a powerful tool that oral tradition is, for sure. So let's talk about some of the earliest authors. Samson Occam was really the first published Indigenous American
Oh, this
author.
story is so sad.
Yeah, he the first printed work, it was 1772. He was the first Native American published in English, and he critiqued colonial hypocrisy and used print to advocate for Indigenous education. His first published work was The Sermon Preached at the Execution of Moses Paul. And you looked into this.
The reason it was the first published in 1772 is because it was the first hanging in New Haven in 20 years in 1772. And it was a Native American man that was he got upset at the bartender for not serving him. And they said afterwards, oh, he was drunk and he was unruly and he attacked this guy and blah, blah, blah. Well, regardless of what actually happened, because we're never going to know. We're never going to know what actually happened. Regardless of what happened, there was a man that died due to blunt force traumas. He got clubbed over the head, and Moses Paul was charged with it. And so he knew he was going to die. He knew there was no way that he was going to be voted innocent by a panel of his peers.
Yeah, I don't think we even had a jury system at that point.
No, he knew he was going to die. So he called another member of his tribe who happened to be a minister. And this minister, he knew the traditions of the people that were living around them.
And that was Samson Occam that he called.
He did. He called Samson Occam, and he had him do a sermon at his execution. And because he made that choice, and because Samson Occam knew how to speak to these people, that's how we know about this. And this is actually on collection at a library in LA currently.
Oh, that's amazing.
Today. Yeah, it's a bad copy because, it's very, very old. But it's in a library in here it is, housed at the Young Research Library Special Collections of the University of California.
Yeah,
Los
it's
Angeles.
UCLA.
Yeah,
the Young Libraries are the historical library. I went to UCLA, and that's the historical. There's two sides of campus, and that's the liberal arts side of the campus. The other side is the mathematical side.
It's been repaired a couple of times. It's got missing pages.
Yeah,
it is hundreds of years old.
Yeah.
But they have this here in California. But it's he this is the only reason that we even know about this trial is because Moses Paul called Samson Occam over and had him do a sermon, and people stood and they listened, and it was published and people read about it. And
in fact, he published it. People read about it. They purchased this book. He actually made money from this book that he then used to support Indigenous education. He wasn't paid fairly.
Of course not.
But he took the proceeds from that book and he put them back into his community, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's sad. The story itself is very sad because the man did die at the end. But
what is great about Occam's work is that it challenged the idea that indigenous people were heathens, or that they were somehow inferior.
Well,
it exposed colonial hypocrisy, and he was able to put his ideas across and challenge the moral authority of the colonial religion and the colonial culture. And that's what makes him such an important author, on top of just being the first Native American to be published. His book was impactful. And by the way, he was a Mohegan.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Let's talk about Sarah Winnemucca.
Sarah Winnemucca, she was an author, and she was also okay. So when I was a kid, Disney released this movie called Pocahontas, which was so fake. I mean, if you do research on Pocahontas, you realize how bad that whole thing really was. But it had this view of the I'm going to use terms that are not what we used back then. This Native American princess. This view of
there's so much wrong with that.
Right,
movie.
It's 100% awful.
She was 13, and they turned her into an adult. It's
a terrible movie.
Yeah.
But with that view of this princess, this person to bridge the gap between the explorers and the natives. That's a little bit of what Sarah Winnemucca did. She was able to speak to the local tribes, and she was able to help, people to settle and all that stuff.
And she documented many of the injustices against the Paiute people.
She did. And that's a big reason that a lot of people didn't like her, because it, take a look in a mirror. Sometimes you don't like what you see.
Oh, 100%.
She wrote
someone exposing you.
Yeah.
Nobody likes to be exposed.
Yeah. She said,
particularly if you deem the person exposing you inferior.
One of her, I know, right? One of her lines that I really liked, it was, they, being the white people, came like a lion, yes, like a roaring lion, and have continued so ever since.
Yeah.
And she released a couple of books. I believe she might have been one of the first women Native Americans to be published.
Yes, she was the first woman Native American published. Yes.
She her friendly relationships with the white households allowed her to have this access, but it also allowed her to witness a number of violent acts at the hands of white settlers, including the murder of 2 uncles, the attempted assault of her sister, the Pyramid Lake War and Bannock War, and the burning of Paiute food supplies. She saw the ugly side, and she wrote about it. And people didn't like that, because they didn't like to see that.
It was a memoir and a testimony.
It was very much so. She didn't like the boarding schools in particular, because back in the day, they would have, they would take the kids and they would teach them, the cultures of the surrounding communities and everything. She actually opened one before she died that taught, it taught her culture to the Native Americans and everything. It was only there for maybe 5 years.
Oh, that's so sad.
And when she passed, they had to close down. Her book, she had one.
Life Among the Paiutes, Their Wrongs and Claims, 1883 was when it was published. And it was essentially a condemnation of erasure, which was what was going on in the Native schools. And basically, it was a colonial policy of destroying memory, through erasing people's culture, making them speak English, making them dress a certain way.
How do you erase oral tradition?
Well,
you erase the people.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's what they were doing.
And one of the ways that people get erased is through assimilation.
Yes.
And forced assimilation, and that's what the boarding schools, that was their job.
That's what she fought. She has a couple. It's so she used to be a public speaker. She gave over 300 speeches in support for the Native Americans. She understood that the majority of the people listening to her were women, and she would speak directly to them. Yeah, because she was talking about children,
right?
And she was a lovely person. And it was very sad how, she even gave, oh gosh, I forgot about this. She gave a speech. She met with President Rutherford B. Hayes, and he was the first sitting president to visit the Far West. She advocated for the humane treatment of her tribe. She asked them that they be allowed from where they were being held on a reservation to let them go back to their native homelands. While her words reduced the First Lady to tears, like I said, she would aim for the women.
Yeah.
She reduced her to tears. The president did not change his mind.
Well, of course not.
Yeah, because he's,
Of course not.
Yeah, but she did get to open her own little boarding school, and they had to close down a handful. She died in 1891. They had to close it down.
So sad. Zitkala-Ša's story is also very similar. She was also a critic of the boarding schools, and she wrote essays in the Atlantic Monthly. So her readership, she was very broad because, the Atlantic being, a white magazine,
right?
Being published. She also co-founded early Indigenous rights groups and was very important in the movements supporting Indigenous people and trying to get them the independence they deserve. Being able to translate the traditions into print and use the colonial tools to preserve and defend their culture became very important toward movements, toward civil rights movements for Indigenous populations in the country. The fact that they were forced to speak English, well, then they would use that ability to speak to power.
Right?
And you did so in like An Indian's Looking Glass for the White Man, which was written by William Apess, who was a Pequot. And he basically, the whole point of that book was to flip the colonial moral lens and expose white supremacy head on. And because he was speaking the oppressor's language, there was no way for them to refute what he was saying without facts. And if the facts aren't on your side, how do you refute? Print, transitioning into print also did help Indigenous Americans document what they were experiencing in a way that was more tangible and could be more widely spread, in the sense that people that were not necessarily like oral tradition, you're talking to the people in the room. Through print, you could reach people that are outside and expand that sphere of influence, which Samuel Occam, which we mentioned, and Sarah Winnemucca Hopkins with her books were able to do that through print.
The Greeks always saw it as immortality, being able to print things.
There was also a Cherokee named Elias Boudinot who founded the first Indigenous-led newspaper, the Cherokee Phoenix, in 1828. And that was a Native American newspaper printed in both English and in Cherokee. And that defended Cherokee sovereignty in the lead up to the Trail of Tears, which is, one of the most awful tragedies that America has experienced. Let's move on now that we've talked about these things to modern authors.
Okay.
So there are a lot of really great,
oh my gosh, so many
Indigenous American authors working in publishing right now, writing, doing their stuff. Yes.
I'm super excited about this one. Can I bring this one up?
Yes.
So I love, okay, this is not, Emily Henry's not the author, but I love Emily Henry so very much.
You're like, whatever Emily loves, I love too.
I follow her blog and it has all this stuff. Well, she recommended an author by the name of Danica Nava. And Danica Nava is, she wrote a book called The Truth According to Ember. It's a romantic comedy.
Can't imagine why you
like
it.
But the author herself is Native American. And in her book, and these are all fiction. I dig fiction. I'm sorry. Every recommendation you're going to get from me is going to be fiction, and it's more than likely going to be romance. That's me. I don't know what to tell you, man. But she's a citizen of the Chickasaw. Am I saying that right? Chickasaw Nation. And she's got an MBA from USC, Marshall School of Business, and she is living in Southern California. But her books usually, so she herself is Native American, and her books usually have Native American characters. She's got a new one coming out. So one is The Truth According to Ember, which is absolutely delightful. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. It was recommended by Emily Henry. That's how I got there, because I was looking at that. I'm like, well, if Emily Henry loves it, then I must love it too.
Who am I? Say the word.
Yes. So it's an adorable story, and it's so very funny. Ember is just one of these people that she just kind of tells little white lies. They're little white ones. They don't hurt anybody until they kind of ball into something a little bigger. And but she's got a new one coming up called Love is a War Song that I'm really excited about. And that one's coming out summer of 2025. Oh, that one just came out, excuse me. But I haven't read it yet, and I'm really excited. Danica Nava is just a lovely author, and if you're looking for a romance that's got a lot of fun and a lot of banter and a lot of, like I said, like an Emily Henry book, these are really good. I really enjoyed them.
Excellent. So, and I'm going to recommend a nonfiction, because that's what we do. And it is Braiding Sweetgrass. Indigenous Wisdom, Scientific Knowledge, and the Teaching of Plants. And this is by Robin Wall Kimmerer, who's citizen Potawatomi Nation, Indigenous. And basically, she's a botanist. She's an Indigenous knowledge keeper. Essentially, this book has really influenced people's concept about ecology. With all the talk about global warming and everything, things have sort of become reduced to sound bites and reduced to arguments about who's right, political ideologies, things like that. She really brings it back down to the basics, bridging the science and spirit, merging Western ecology with indigenous knowledge in her work. It's a New York Times bestseller. It's been on the list for years. Generations have been influenced by this book. And it's really just a reminder that reading can be an act of restoration. And it's a way to combine or braid, if you will, together knowledge, gratitude, and care for the land. You know, we have environmental recovery stories here in Butte County. And I think for any resident, her work will resonate really strongly just because of everything we've been through over the last few years. You know, she's just a wonderful, it's a healing experience to read, and an enlightening experience to read her work. Braiding Sweetgrass is just really a wonderful piece.
It's actually a part of our book club in a box.
Hey,
there's a set ad. If you again, a few friends want to read it together and talk about it, Braiding Sweetgrass, you just go to our website, pull up adult book clubs, and then request the set from Book Club in a Box. And the coordinator, Crystal, amazing, Chef's Kiss, she will send it to your branch of choice, and you guys can check it out and read it and talk about it and be in awe like all the rest of us are. It's a great time. But yeah, it's available at Book Club in the Box, that one. I remember because Chico did it for one of their book clubs, and they have it in Book Club in the Box.
There you go. Before we get to giving you some read-alikes, I want to make a recommendation to you. You may know, or you may not know, that the library has acquired Canopy.
Canopy's fun.
Canopy has an incredible collection that is available this month through the platform that is essentially Indigenous American voices. Many titles. Like, I was in awe of how many titles are available through this package. If you don't know how to use Canopy, essentially you sign up with your library card, you give a PIN number, you receive 25 tickets that you can spend that each
That's what
movie,
you're doing.
Yeah, exactly. Each movie you decide to stream will cost you anywhere from 0 to 5 tickets. And this is just a wonderful way, if you'd like to know a little more about Indigenous culture, see some visual art and visual storytelling that is available. Canopy is a great place for you to go, and you can get there for free with your library card. So give that a shot too. All right, let's talk about some read-alikes. Read-alikes for Braiding Sweetgrass. I have some in my notes right here. World of Wonders by Amy Netzakamattil. World of Wonders. Great read-alike if you're interested in braiding sweetgrass. Another one is also written by Robin Wall Kimmerer, so the same author as Braiding Sweetgrass, and it's called Gathering Moss. So those are a couple of really great titles if you'd like to check out. We also have some children's picks. Fry Bread is great.
I got that one sitting on my desk right now.
Yeah.
I really do. That one's delightful.
By Kevin Noble Maillard. It's absolutely amazing. We Are the Water Protectors, or We Are Water Protectors by Carol Lindstrom. Fantastic.
Fry Bread is so cute. I was going to read that for story time, and it's sitting on my desk because I'm like, I really want to read this. I really want to read this, but I want to read it at home where I can try to make fry bread with my kids. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I really want to do, because I'm one of those people that loves the cozy novels because I get to make something at the end of it, you know? But fry bread is absolutely adorable, and it's something that they actually make today. They make fry bread as a tradition.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, if we have it here at the Butte County Library, if you don't see it at the Paradise branch, it's probably because it's on my desk. And just come up to me and say, hey, I want to check out that version of fry bread that you're hiding on your desk. So it happens a lot here. People will look for books and be like, I can't find this, and it's because it's on my desk.
Because January
I took it in it.
There are a couple other top-selling titles here. Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Booley is another huge title. If you've read that one and you really like it, Warrior Girl Unearthed, also by Booley, is a great title to read. Winter Counts by David Heska Wanbli-Weeden is another great one to read. There was huge last year by Tommy
That was
Orange.
big.
Absolutely hot,
Mhm.
hot, had tons of holds on it. If you're interested in reading that, the read-alikes, but can't get your hands on it, want to read something in the meantime, the read-alikes for that would be The Break by Katerina Vermette. Also, Johnny Appleseed by Joshua Whitehead is a really good option too. Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We hope you enjoyed traveling through the powerful history of Indigenous storytelling and discovering the authors who paved the way and the incredible writers continuing that legacy today.
And remember, you can find many of the books we mentioned in this episode either at your local Butte County Library branch or through our digital collections on Libby or the Palace Project. And if there's a title we don't have on hand, just let a staff member know and we'll see what the solution we can offer would work best with you, getting that reading material that you want.
Indeed. We're always willing to work with you.
Oh,
we'll
yes.
get you whatever we can. Native American stories are alive, evolving, and deeply rooted in tradition. Supporting Native authors and educators is a wonderful way to honor that history and celebrate Native American Heritage Month.
Thank you so much for listening and for being a part of our library community. Be sure to check out our website and, of course, like and subscribe so you never miss an episode of Library-ish. Bye.
Bye.